pleasure having you here.
Thank you for having me.
Firstly, how do you feel about this win? What does this win mean to you?
Well, it's always lovely to be recognized. We're a firm which is in its now 10th year, which started off, trying to do something where we looked at providing value to the client. And values are something which are cliched and everybody else says it, but actually sort of seeing where the pain points of the clients are, understanding where they are, and trying to provide a service which looks at exceptional delivery and looks at more at a commercial solution more than just trying to say battle vehicles as sometimes these come to be. So to win these awards in our 10th year on our specialist practice such as competition and insolvency,
right,
we're very grateful to Business World and to the jury for it.
Right. What were your key takeaways from your panel?
Well, I think the main, the panel spoke about alternative dispute resolution, and clearly the time of that has come, especially when we're looking at mediation, looking at online tools to effect, the delivery of justice. And it's not only just justice in the sense that, there is someone sitting and someone deciding right and wrong, but also looking at a focus on mediation, which looks at more of distributive justice, where both sides come out of the process and feel that they have won. And that is going to only increase as the complexity of disputes go up, and online mediation and online tools make it easier to access parts of the country which are otherwise inaccessible.
Speaking of mediation, recently there has been a lot of talk about India becoming a global hub for arbitration and mediation. Personally, how important is that, and how can that become a reality?
So, I think let's call it the global hub of dispute resolution, right? It's important to be aware. For any party investing into India or even parties in India, certainty and predictability of a system is very important, right? And that is where, if there is a focus on arbitration, mediation being the global hub, where there is speed, there is quality, and there is enforcement, all those will go and help make India a favorable destination for investments and expand our economy. So certainly it is a very important piece of the pie to make sure that our goals of a large $1 trillion of economies are actually met.
The role of the GC is becoming more and more prominent by the day. How do you see that role growing in the near future?
So, the evolution of the GC role in India, I've say the last 2 decades, has been quite substantial. And earlier there used to be that you would just be the messenger, paper pushing from outside counsel to what the internal legal team is. But now the role of the GC is a very important executive in the entire function of a company. Strategic decisions of the company now involve taking the GC's views up front rather than reactively. And that has changed the way, and that is what has made it attractive to those in private practice to move into an in-house role. And that role is only going to increase, because as cost of legal services goes up, companies will look more internally for advice, and also someone who is giving them the full focused attention, and move out only when specialist advice is required. So the focus, especially if you've seen in the last 3 years of the COVID years, where you've seen that the focus of the GC, or rather the GC being recognized as an important CXO in the sort of the administration and the management of the company has really come forward, and that will only continue to grow.
All right. The Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code was created to smoothen business operations. That was its essential objective. Has that objective been achieved?
Okay, I'm going to say the controversial answer. The answer is no, right? And that's because I think we need to do a hard rethink on how we are administrating the code, and how the code is actually working in terms of the functioning, the speed at which, because what's happening is that by the time, it's a case of operation successful, patient dead. The zeal with which it was being dealt with earlier, or sometimes we see those sporadic times, like for example on GoAir, right? There are questions about rights of lessors in GoAir, and there are questions about, let's keep that for the moment aside. Let's just look at the speed with which it was taken into insolvency, because it wanted to protect the company as a going concern. And that is the sort of same amount of urgent attention that I think every case deserves, and the speed that every case deserves.
Right. A quick comment on the constant ongoing tussle between the government and the Supreme Court of India on the whole collegium system. A few words on that, if you will.
Well, let me borrow words from Justice Royington Randaman to say that it is not a perfect system, but it is a system that is important. It is a system which is an important pillar as far as our democracy is concerned, and to ensure that every sphere of the executive, the judiciary, the legislature operates within their own sphere, and there is that check and balances that we all want in a functioning democracy. So it isn't perfect, certainly, but it is the one we have right now, and the one I think should stay.
Okay, so we are staying in the middle. We're not taking sides.
No, I'm not. No, I am taking a side. I don't think that there should be, there should be a more collaborative effort in terms of pushing it through. But the tussle which we see right now, we have a system in place, and the system says there's a collegium. The collegium will recommend. But what we do see sometimes is that there is, those names are returned, or there are objections raised, or they just sat on for a while, and that doesn't. In my view, does not give the great respect to the Supreme Court where we have. I think as all stakeholders, as the government, as Parliament, as the civil society needs to, the judiciary of course, and lawyers need to all sit down together and think of a system which will come out with a new system. And till it's there, this is the stopgap that we must go with.
Right. Fair enough. Last comment. BCI's new rule about allowing foreign law firms to operate in India. How do you think that will pan out in the near future? Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think the rules. I think the rules again need a little bit of a relook. Relook from two perspectives. One, and I say it from both sides. One is from the law of the Indian lawyers and the domestic law firms, is what can be done to make the level playing field an actual level playing field.
Right.
Like for example, you can't have the Bar Council change the rules where the Partnership Act still has restrictions, where law firms may still, if they convert themselves into an LLP, get notices on saying why have you, right? Where restrictions on advertisement or restrictions on what you can carry on your website still remain. So the entire process needs to be relooked, and simultaneously the level playing field created. At the same time, I don't think so. We are where we were many years ago. We should welcome foreign law firms, but even from a foreign law firm's perspective, those rules may be too onerous to actually facilitate entry. So whether it's just entry on paper, that still remains to be seen.
Thank you so much for being a sport.
Thank you.
Pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you.